Right, what's up? Welcome back to another video. The trade from yesterday ended up being a complete banger. Wasn't fully expecting this to be the trade of the day, but after recording the video, if you guys recall, this is when I recorded the video. So all the way until like 6:35 a.m., you would have still had an opportunity to get into this trade. The entry marked out, stop loss marked out, TP marked out, and yesterday was another day where we have successfully called another dump. And this is the beauty of trading what the market is telling you rather than what you want to believe. Because as much as I would like to believe that $92,000 is going to be just a level of really strong support for Bitcoin to bounce from, unfortunately, the reality is that the market was pointing downwards yesterday, and so we traded it accordingly. And so boom, that marks the 129th win out of the last 164 trade calls. We have been on an absolute roll. I think we are sitting at about a 5 winning streak at the moment, and let's look to continue this momentum in today's video. Now, before we get into the video though, I need to let you know that we are about 10 days out from the masterclass, where I'm going to break down this exact system that has gotten everyone who has been watching these videos an 80% win rate over the last 300 days. This is one of the most consistent systems out there. This is something that's worked really well for me. It's something that's worked really well for everyone who's been watching. If you would like to sign up, it's completely for free. Click the first link in the description box below and you'll get access to the details of when and where the event is going to be held. But otherwise, let's get into today's video and let's kick things off with the daily chart. Clearly, we are now coming into this weekly fair value gap. Now, just because this is a key level of support does not mean that you're going to just bounce from this point onwards. It doesn't work that way. Now, what is important to understand though is that it is likely that within the upcoming 1 or 2 weeks, we may bounce for this. But at the very least, based on an intraday perspective, which is what the trades that I call on these YouTube videos are about, right? It's intraday, you're basically getting in and out within the matter of a couple of hours. This is not relevant. So for your intraday perspective, we're going to be looking for shorts because yesterday the daily candle closed short. In terms of the 1 hourly, we have very clear PDRAs to work from. So the first one is going to be this fair value gap that price currently is in at the moment. And the second one is going to be this order block. Now, I wouldn't necessarily want to look further than this order block. So I'm going to say that these two are going to be the main key levels that you're going to want to watch for. In the event that you start getting a 5-minute change in state of delivery to the downside right now, like starting now, if you get it, it's already valid. If you get it here, it's also valid. Now, the specific times that I'll be looking for though, especially based on what time you're going to be seeing this video, is going to be between the hours of 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. New York, which is going to be the New York kill zone. But otherwise, in terms of the 1 hourly chart, that's going to be what we look for. Now secondly, coming down into the 5-minute chart, we can see that this is the Asia session. The low has not yet been taken. So in the event that we sweep up the high in the key timing that I've told you about, basically filling in this fair value gap or whatever, and then reversing the other way, this is going to set the precedent for what is otherwise known as a accumulation, manipulation, distribution to take out the Asia low, and that's going to be a very straightforward setup. Now, in the event that price eventually, let's say the reversal's already in and price just becomes really bullish and it breaks above this level, finds it as support and continues trading higher, you can feel free to take a trade long. Now, me personally, I'm going to be avoiding taking any sort of long trades. The reason being is that part of the one of the core tenets of the system that I'm trading is time frame alignment. Basically, I'm only going to take longs if all 3 time frames are aligned, meaning the 5-minute has to point up, the 1 hour has to point up, and most importantly, the daily has to point up. Now, at the moment, the daily chart is bearish, and even if you eventually get this, happening, yeah, maybe you can argue that the 1 hourly is bullish, and the 5-minute is definitely bullish, but still, you're getting no time frame alignment there. It's never too late tomorrow to, for example, let's say the daily candle closes like this. Well, tomorrow is never too late to just jump into, let's say, this order block right here and just trade things higher. At least you'll be jumping into much more confirmed momentum. Whereas if today you start jumping into the long, you could argue still that, you may be just rejected from this bearish order block here before price continues making new lows. Speaking about that order block right there, it's also valid to point out that that is also valid. In fact, this entire block right here is valid. So in the event that price comes into any of these 3 key levels, like this upper one is going to align with the fact that, Asia high is going to get swept out before distribution to the downside. Again, all of them are valid. If you're asking me which one I think is going to be the top, the truth is, I don't know. Anyone that says they know are probably lying to you, or they're just trying to sound smart. And also, not knowing is one thing, but it's not also my job as a trader to predict where tops and bottoms are going to come in. It's more for those of you guys who've watched, my videos and have been very profitable over the last, 6 weeks, then, a big part of what we do here is just simply marking our key levels, right? And then waiting for price to get into, waiting for price and time to get into key timing zones. And once that happens, once we get the reaction that we want, boom, it's almost like you have a crystal ball, right? when you see me catch all of these very precise entries where after I go in, price does not spend too much time inside the trade, and then boom, all of a sudden, boom, TP. And the reason that I'm able to do it at like an 80% win rate is because I have really specific conditions. I'm not trying to predict what the market's going to do. I have key levels that I've marked out. I have exact things that I'm looking for. Once they happen, bang, bang, bang. And yeah, this is a proven system. And I'm going to be breaking this down in the masterclass that's going to be happening in 10 days. To those of you who are on the newsletter, doesn't mean that you are automatically signed up to the masterclass. Just understand that you still have to click the first link below. And next up, we move into Ethereum, starting things off on the daily chart. That is a bearish daily bias. And so we are definitely going to be looking for longs, not a surprise there. Like, it's just going to be mostly similar compared to Bitcoin. Right off the get-go, I can see that there is a bearish order block right now that we are trading into. So far, the order flow is pretty bearish, so we're still going to be looking for shorts. Within this bearish order block right here, you can also kind of refine it down to that bearish order block. But overall, like, again, you're already in a valid key level in terms of price. Now you just need to wait for key timings, which is right now, actually, because right now it's still within the London kill zone. But besides the London kill zone, if you don't get an entry, like for example, when I post this video, chances are it's going to be like 6 p.m. New York already. And it's not going to be too late either, because you could just hop onto the New York chart, and 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. that's when you're going to want to look for just a 5-minute change in state of delivery to the downside before you start taking the trades. One of the big reasons why we need that confirmation is because, well, if you start, I want you to imagine, right, that you just set a limit here and you place your stop loss here. Like, what you're going to be doing is essentially selling into strength. Right now, the lower time frames are looking incredibly bullish. If you start shorting here, well, guess what? You're going to be shorting into a lot of strength, and you don't want to do that. Just because you have key levels marked out and just because you have a clear daily bias and clear opinions does not mean that the market's going to agree. Once you have those opinions and once you have kind of like a high probability scenario mapped out, that's not enough. You still have to wait for the market to give you the confirmation in the form of a lower time frame changes their delivery, making sure that you're getting lower lows and lower highs and bearish order flows being respected. And then at that point, when you jump in, that is when trading is going to feel easy. Basically, patience is a virtue. Patience pays when it comes to trading. And what's interesting also with Ethereum compared to Bitcoin is that the Asia high has already been swept out. So at the moment, Ethereum's looking like a little bit more higher probability compared to Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, trade whatever you want. Like, both of these are valid ideas as long as you get the clear conditions. But I have to say, so far, Ethereum's looking just a tiny bit higher probability compared to Bitcoin at the very least. Next up, we move into Solana. Solana is looking a lot more bullish compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Like, the pump that it has been giving is pretty strong. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to go for a long though, because, well, you're coming into this bearish resistance, and within this bearish resistance you have another bearish order block, and I'm even willing to bet that the Asia high has already been swept, and it has. So right now you're just going to look for that change in state of delivery. Again, same timing zones, you're already in the key levels. Now you just need to wait for key timings and you are going to be set to go. As usual, I'm going to be posting any of the live trades that I'm going to take on X, so feel free to follow me there. But anyways, I'm going to see you guys in tomorrow's video. Stay safe, trade safe, and yeah, see you later on Twitter. Ciao, ciao.